Hey all, welcome back to another video. Today we're just going to jump in, hopefully a really quick one, and we're going to look at a bug on why some of our cadences are not actually displaying properly. So in our last video we saw that we had this task, this streak that we're trying to track that is supposed to have a 4-day cadence. And if we look, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, but then we've got this group of 5 right here. So we went into production, or we went in locally, and we tried to reproduce this. I just made a new task called test, and that's also at 4 days, and you'll notice that it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Interesting though, we have a 3er here, and we have the 3, but this one here is also at 4. So that's actually really good that we can actually come in and try to reproduce this issue. So let's go ahead to the code and see if we can figure out what's going on here. Seems like these are, I do wonder, yeah, so this border is just wrong in general. It looks like this is correct. 1, 2, 3, 4, but we should be cutting off here instead. So let's jump in over here, and we can perhaps the way that we're calculating. Yeah, in fact, even we do have a problem. We have this bug. It looks like this is every 2 days, and yet we can see we have this really strange behavior going on where this is only a size 1. So yeah, let's jump into this, and we'll see if we can figure this out. I just realized, you're gonna have to bear with me. I am realizing that I wasn't sharing my screen this entire time. So let's quickly, I'll show you this problem where we have the 5, even though this is a 4, this really should be a 5. And we have this 1, 2, 3, 4, this should be a 3, and yet we have a size 4. This is a size 2, and yet we have this single right here. So let's dig into why that's going, what's causing that. So if we come into our task list, the interesting thing is that as a clue, when we finish this, this looks like our cadence itself is wrong. And so it looks like some of our code that actually checks these hours is somehow incorrect. So we're setting this hour here, and I think for now, temporarily, we can come back into our container, and we can actually just go ahead and do what we did last time, where we're going to set our tasks to very simply only showing the 1. All right, so we have only the 1. Let's open up our logs, and let's try to figure out why this is happening here. So has cadence completed, and we have 1 day. So let's just, for now, we have this start of cadence and end of cadence. Let's just go ahead and log out our start of cadence. And this probably will do our end of cadence here like that. Okay. So we have the 4, we have the start, we want to see where we're getting a start of cadence. Okay, this is showing us having an end of cadence at, we want to see a start cadence of the 8th. And that's going through the 12th, which is 1, 2, 3, 4 days, when we really 1, 2, 3, 4. So our start should be our end of cadence. Interesting. Okay. Our get date when we set the hours, very interesting. So I do wonder if, yeah, our start of cadence, our hours, we are the 4th, and then if we log out the size, let's do the end of cadence get date. And what we'll do is, let's log off the date. And we really want to say when it's 12, if equals 12, we're going to do some extra logging here. We're going to log out our start and end. Okay, so we see our beginning, we started 8 plus 4. Eastern Standard, and then going to Eastern Daylight Time. That's interesting that both of these are, I wonder if we can actually have this copy from there. They're going between time zones, which is definitely kind of interesting. We have this set hours. So let's add really, we don't even need this. What we can do is perhaps we can just, no. We're setting the date. Let's ask ChatGPT how to do this. How to get in JavaScript, how do we increment the day by 3 days? So I see this. Perhaps we want to, is this a string? No, this is a number. So let's go ahead and log out this as well. We should see the date, and we're going to do the start date as well. Eight 12. I mean, that does make sense. Yeah, this does make sense. Our completion date. When is our completion date, though? Are they? One, two, three, 4. Friday to Tuesday. This makes sense. I wonder if we can log this out. What is the output of our find? So it's always finding this guy here, which is done on the 8th. So, days since start. So we're checking the 12th, and we're trying to ask the question on whether or not the has cadence completed. So days since start. If our days since start, if our days since start is, I think this is our problem here. Because we're at this cadence 0, we should say and our current date. We can kind of recognize that if we started on this day here, days since start. Well, let's see. How many days is it since we just started? It should be no days, technically. I wonder if this is going to say we're at 1 day, though. And what we'll do is if current date is equal to, we're going to say if we are at, if it's 12, this is what we're also going to do. We are going to remove, we're going to unlog out this guy here, and we're just going to check that 12 here. So if our current date is the 12th, which means it's this, and what we'll do is we'll also log this guy out. Okay, current date, Eastern Daylight, Eastern Daylight. So the 12th is 3 days sometimes. And this is very curious here that we're not getting the same number every single time. You would kind of expect if our date was 12. Oh, it's because we're in a loop. If we're at 12, our days since start should be, well, let's count 1, 2, 3, 4 back, not 3. And so, which means that our task was created at a different time. And for some reason, they are going between the 2 time zones. I wonder if we can just log off. Let's go ahead and do one of these. Task created at and date. So we get a date, which is March 12th, which makes sense. And then we have another, which is March 9th. So the item was really made on March 9th, and that's our problem. So this is a UI error. And this goes back to getting the user time zone. So we actually need to take these dates and translate them back to we've set the hours, but this date itself is wrong. So how can we get find the amount of days between 2 dates and JavaScript when they are on different time zones. Okay, so let's convert them both to UTC. So let's go ahead and do this. We'll go ahead and count. So let's actually, both of these. So current date in UTC. We'll go ahead and Actually, we'll keep this like that. We'll remove this set hours idea. And we'll do current date UTC, task created at UTC. And we'll just go ahead and paste these guys in. And then we will use these. So we'll have current date at UTC. And let's see if we need to. All right, doesn't look like we need this at all here. And we are doing the 1,000. Yes, that looks good. So let's come in and check this again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this now looks even more interesting to me. So, oh, and our cadence also need to be adjusted to UTC. So let's go ahead and adjust all of these within here. So let's go ahead and we're going to change all these around like this. And we will, let's see, date UTC. Returns the milliseconds since January 1st. Okay. Can you pass this as a new date? New date. Can we do this? Get get milliseconds. Can we do this? Is this how it was before? Kind of forget, honestly. Divided by 1,000. Let's see if we're getting the same type of idea here. It looks like maybe. So I'm not gonna worry about doing that yet. Let's go ahead and remove these, and then let's convert these guys over, which really means all of these need to be adjusted to this UTC. So yeah, this is really funky here, and I think something else is going on, and that's what this looks like, because we should definitely not be yeah. So how are we getting, this is really interesting. What is this code actually doing? So we have this date, go to previous day. If, okay, story, date, start of cadence. So we want to get rid of this guy here. That looks fine. And we have this other start of cadence, and then we're adding that. That honestly looks fine there. So it makes me wonder why. So we'll do something like this. So date UTC. And we will do something like this and we'll use this date here for all of these. Okay, we'll refresh our page. Get full year is not a function, and that's because this needs to be like this. All right. Wow, we are really breaking this apart now, aren't we? If we undo that, we'll close all those off. Something really fishy is going on here, isn't there? It's one of the problems with using this. Yeah, I almost feel like we're getting really unwieldy here. And let's actually do, let's just log out something. New date, and we're going to do the current date, UTC, and that as well. And then we're going to say if current date get date is equal to 12, we're going to log these out. Just so we can get some idea of what our task created at and our current date actually is. Because our task was made today. So it looks like, yeah, it was made today, and yet it looks like it's, well, let's go back and see. Oh. Okay. Convert date into user's time zone. This is the other thing. Okay. So we have this date, we have this toString. This puts it in the actual. So this converts everything into a UTC. And then, so it's current date in user's time zone is equal to current. It looks like we might just be able to do toString. And we can say task created at in user's time zone. So let's go ahead and just try this. This is going to be here. And we're just going to log this out. And we'll see if these look correct now. Invalid date. All right, so maybe that was correct. Let's remove this. Our context was changed. There we go. Oh, whoops. Yeah. So let's go ahead and use that. And we'll make a similar one here like this. And we'll make sure we're using the correct date. All right. Now we'll go ahead and refresh. We see that we're on the 12th and on the 8th now. And we have this Eastern Daylight and Eastern Standard Time. Convert both to using and account for daylight savings time in both. Okay. All right, let's do something here. So we'll say function convert date into user's time zone. Okay, that looks good. Are we getting the account for users time zone and daylight savings? All right, we're just going to use this function here, and we'll use this guy instead down below. So we're going to very simply do one of these numbers. So you have current date and task created at, and then we can actually get rid of all of this extra code here. We're going to get current date and task created at. We're going to really hope that these are, we'll get this get milliseconds thing too, task created at, get milliseconds. Let's go and refresh here. So it looks like we're okay. All right, that looks correct now. But we can notice that we still have this 5 border. So let's go ahead and try to fix that now. So that's going to be at this is start of cadence. And what we're going to do is we're going to very simply use this new function that we've made. Start and end, and we don't need this convert zeros thing. Maybe we can just do get time as well. And refresh. All right. And okay, it looks like we are still having this problem here. So let's go ahead and log off the days since start. We have the start and end. Date dot get date. Is start day of cadence. Oh, so we're not actually calling this function there. So we want to make sure we're using the right. Well, let's see. Shouldn't we be calling this? Is start day of cadence. Let's just log this out. Oh, we weren't on the right website. Look at this. And all of our code's probably broken too. In fact, none of this is actually working. Get date full year is not even working. I guess it doesn't help to be looking at production when we should not been. So task list line 8. It's broken already from here. Let's just do something like this. Date equals new date. All right, so we're completely broken again. Lovely. Wow, this is going to be an hour-long bug fix, isn't it? All right, so if we close this, let's double check. Okay, let's come back down here. We have our offset for our time. We have our current date and we have our task created at if we are on the 12th. So that is a yes. And let's do another thing. Let's go ahead and check if current date is get date is equal to 14th, we're also going to do this same type of idea. In fact, let's bring this up here like that. Oh, I see that we're using this date, set date idea. And I wonder if that's because we're running into problems because our dates itself aren't. So let's actually go down to here where we call this, and let's do something. Well, no, we're actually accounting for. We are using the correct date there. Okay, so let's come down here, and what we're going to do is, sure, we'll log that. We're going to do this, and we're going to do the start of cadence and the end of cadence for the 14th. So the 14th, the start cadence is the 7th and ends on the 11th, which does not make any sense at all. We need to actually hurry up because our date's going to go over to the 9th soon. So let's think about how this would work. If our days since start is equal to 0, I wonder if it's ever equal to 0 with this. Let's actually see if we log out. Our current date and task created at. So let's go ahead and log out our current date and task created at. All right. Our current date is the 1st, and we made our task on the 8th. That makes sense. Then we're looking at the 2nd. Now, when we get all the way down to the 14th, that is right here, and we should be logging out quite a bit of code. So if we're at the 14th, we then should be logging off the start of cadence. So let's actually take this variable, and we'll take this guy, and we'll move this over as well. All right, so let's go find where we put that. Start of cadence, which is really interesting. Start of cadence is so our current date is the 14th. Okay, and our start of cadence is all the way back at the 7th, and our end of cadence is the 11th somehow. Which is, yeah, it's very interesting that days since start, we are logging that out. It's 5 days since we've started the task. Is that true? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It would seem like we should actually be 6 days. We should be separated by 6 days, actually. Okay, so let's hone in some more on our logs. Okay. We're going to hone in on our logs a little bit more to figure out this problem here. And it's getting really late, so I want to figure this out. All right. I do wonder if this date, I wonder if I should not be doing current date like this. I see I have this date. I feel like we should be actually doing this though. And we have not been editing this correctly. Oh, did you look at that? That was our problem. Okay, so now we're still back in this weird scenario here where we have a cadence size of, we have a 4. We can actually fix that though still. So the start of cadence idea is still here like this. You know, the start end. Pass dot created. It should be 1. So yeah, this seems wrong. This should really be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4 to the 11th, and instead it's going back. So let's say if we are the 8th, and we'll see when our start of cadence actually ends up being. So let's go ahead and put the 8th. And our start of cadence is the 8th through the 12th, which makes sense. The start of cadence is the 9th through the 13th. Start of cadence. And that's because we've got this guy in here, which we don't need to be logging out so much. So our current date is the 8th. We are looking at, when we are looking at the 8th, our start of cadence is always the 8th. Then we have a start of cadence at the 9th, and then a start of cadence at the 10th. Oh, it's probably because our current date needs to also be updated here. So, yeah, this is the problem with not updating these dates like this. So our current date, kind of surprised that did not change anything here. So we always, current date, start of cadence is always the 8th through the 12th, and that 0, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. That looks to make sense. So what we want to ask is, why is the 6th showing up as a completed item? Perhaps one of our dates in here is not correct, but that does not seem to be the case. Oh yeah, we're using this new date UTC thing, but we should be accounting for, so we can actually just do this. What we're going to do is this guy, take this. There we go. Now we can see that we're actually still going to the 12th. And that's where things get a little funny to me. Our current date is the 12th. And yet our 12th, current date is the 12th. It's interesting. It never stays on the 12th. Okay, what we can do is we can actually take this date and can we refresh this? Okay, so our current date is the 12th. Our start of cadence is the 8th. So what we'll do is we'll come back here and we're going to log out days since start here. So the days since start is on the 3rd. And this is where this seems definitely wrong. The 12th is not, that should be a 4. And yet we're only getting a 3. So that seems wrong. If we converted both of these days to UTC, which I believe we have, so let's get get milliseconds. What if we do this? Okay, this now pushes us back. Math.floor. Yeah, our cadence really should be starting at the correct time. Maybe we should actually get our bumpers up correct. 1, 2, 3, 4. We should be starting here and then moving forward. So if I say get seconds, get UTC, no. What if we do get UTC milliseconds? Get time. Yeah, so these are on the same milliseconds, but I kind of wonder, when you look at both of these, you get one in this daylight and one in this standard time. And so once you move this, perhaps, it moves some of these days back and back in time. So let's look at this again here. Compare convert both time. Convert the concert date. Can define. Okay. Where does it say daylight savings time in here? Converts and specify. Sure, converting to the local job. Okay. So let's just throw this guy on here. I see this options idea. Target time zone. I guess we can put this time zone in and see what happens. To locale string. New date from this whole guy, perhaps. Let's see what happens here. Yeah, we're still completing on the 12th, which is not what we want, unfortunately. In fact, I don't understand why get days, get amount of days between two dates. This is this difference in milliseconds still. How can you do this without checking the milliseconds. Can you calculate the... Yeah, this just doesn't make sense then. If it's... I mean, 12 minus 8 is 4. We know that. And yet, when I do 12 minus 8, maybe it's because we're at this 0, 0, 0 time, and we could actually take both and put them in the middle of the day. Maybe when it's doing this comparison, it is... Oh, it's because it's a floor. If we don't do this math floor, I bet we can actually see the real time. Let's actually see that. Yeah, let's see this real time without doing math.floor. Yeah, we get this 3.9. So it's almost there, but it's 1 hour difference. And I bet if we did 1 divided by 20, if we did 23 divided by 24, or 23 divided by 24 is 0.958333. And that's where our problem is. We're on daylight time, and then we have Eastern Standard Time. And so we want to put both of these. So can we set the time zone to be the same on both? That's what we want to do. We just want to set the same darn time zone for both, and then put them both on. Here's what we can do. We can take this string and convert this here. And what we'll do is we'll also do a new date, just kind of like that. We'll convert that there. Then when we come back, we should see, where is this? Okay, current. We're doing this daylight, but are we doing, I see this get time, convert both days to UTC. If we're converting both, then how are we, oh, we don't want this time zone offset at all, right? So let's just go ahead and do this. One, two, three. Okay, so we at least made a change here. Now, it should be every 4 days and not every 3, but we have made a change. Perhaps what we can do is actually not even return this at all. We could just return this guy and not even use any of this. So this get time, return date, new date, convert this over, and we've once again broken it. What's our other options here? To locale string, international date options. Hour 12. Yeah. I'm wondering if we don't want to use math.floor at all. I think that's maybe our problem. But then if it's the reverse the way, then maybe we just do math.round. I think that's where we can get away from this. If we're only an hour away, we keep a lot of the same code as is. And we very simply just do a math.round. Instead of this floor, we do a round. And I think this actually fixed our problem. Yes, it does. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we just need to, yeah. So this is our problem. We're doing a floor and we're just going to do a round. There we go. It was that simple, or was it? It obviously took forever to do. So let's go ahead and all these logging statements we can get rid of. Wow, what a pain. Some of these dates, time zones. Oh, this is an over an hour long video to do time zones. But, you know, that's how it is sometimes. Let's go ahead back to our container and we'll get all of them. And we'll see if they're all coming in correctly now. So I see the 3. Yeah, this looks solid. 1, 2, 3, 4. That looks good there. Current 0. If we complete this guy, 5. Okay, wow. What a long video to do such a small item. Time zones are no joke. But bugs, we are back to 0. So in our next video, what we're going to do is we are going to be adding support for emojis. Big deal, right? Well, we're going to add support for it anyways because that was in the specs. Then we're going to go in and hopefully by the end of this week, we will get the concept of photographs that we can submit. We'll have to do some stuff with like a permanent volume in Linode. And then we're going to add some aggregates and graphs for things. And yeah, then we'll go from there and we'll see where we take this project. I appreciate you guys sticking with me this long. Well, I doubt you did, but if you did, man, it's impressive. I will see you in the next video.